Let's talk about the Chicago Bears and why I believe they could be a dangerous threat in this division for years to come, and why we should also temper expectations for this upcoming season. Now, when you look at the Chicago Bears, a lot of people are going to say, hey, they have Caleb Williams is off to the races, because last season, they were not a bad football team per se. Justin Fields missed time, and Justin Fields looked solid, but it wasn't good enough for him to keep his job. They lucked into having the first overall pick when they made that trade with the Carolina Panthers just a year ago. But they got more than just Caleb Williams out of that trade. They also got DJ Moore. Caleb Williams is entering a great situation, one of the best situations that any rookie quarterback could enter upon. You have a veteran play caller in Shane Waldron. You have a head coach in Matt Eberflus, who I'm not the biggest fan of. More on him in a couple of minutes. But when I look at this offense, it is one of the better offenses that the Chicago Bears have had in years. Mitch Trubisky was a bust of a quarterback. Justin Fields, to some people, they'll say he's a bust. To other people, they'll say, nah, he wasn't a bust. He didn't build around him correctly. But now you restart your clock with Caleb Williams. Ryan Poles has done a phenomenal job by doing that. He went out there, he signed DeAndre Swift, who is a very solid running back in the NFL. I'm not going to say he's one of the best running backs, because he's not, but he's a very good running back. We saw what he was able to do with the Detroit Lions, wasn't able to stay healthy. But when he was on the field, he looked very good. With the Philadelphia Eagles, he stayed healthy, had over 1,000 rushing yards and 5 rushing touchdowns. He's a very good running back. It just comes down to his durability. And I like what they're doing. Not only do you have DeAndre Swift, you also have Khalil Herbert, who can take the pressure off of DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift is a true third down back. He can be on the field for every single down if you want him to, but Khalil Herbert is more explosive in the receiving game. When I look at Khalil Herbert, 611 rushing yards on the season, only 2 rushing touchdowns, and he got hurt in a fluke way. It was a bad ball by Justin Fields. He tried to turn around and he hurt his leg. He's a very explosive running back. I compare him a lot to Tony Pollard in the sense of you don't want him to go out there and have 25 to 30 carries in the game. If you can keep his carries between 15 to 20, he has a lot of good bursts and a lot of good speed to come out the backfield. You have 2 running backs that can catch the football at the backfield, and it's going to make a huge difference with Caleb Williams in this offense. You also have surrounded Caleb Williams with elite talent on the perimeter. For the first time in a very long time, the Chicago Bears actually have true wide receiving options. DJ Moore last season was phenomenal. Then you had Luke Getsy last season, who was a terrible offensive play caller. They just kept calling screens for the first half of the season. They didn't know how to use him. But we saw in that game against the Washington Commanders, he can take over a game. DJ Moore is one of the better wide receivers in the NFL. He was 6th in receiving yards, 1,364 receiving yards on the season, 8 receiving touchdowns, and 14 yards a catch. I want to give him his respect because this kid has played with Sam Darnold, a bad version of Baker Mayfield with the Carolina Panthers, Teddy Bridgewater, and Cam Newton when he did not look the same. And this man has always put up numbers. He's Mr. Consistent. It seems like it doesn't matter who his quarterback is, he's going to go out there and produce. So I'm not worried about him. They also went out there and they traded a 4th round pick to go get Keenan Allen. This move shocked the hell out of me because I thought Keenan Allen was going to stay with the Los Angeles Chargers for the rest of his career. That wasn't the case. They wanted him to take a pay cut. Now when I look at Keenan Allen, still a very good wide receiver. You just worry about his health. The thing is with him, he's going to help guys like Rome Odunze and Tyler Scott develop in that room. When you look at Keenan Allen, he's not going to go deep down the field and take the top off the defense consistently, but he's going to go out there and be that great intermediate route wide receiver. 108 catches for 1,243 receiving yards, 7 receiving touchdowns. You have DJ Moore, who could do everything for you. He could take the top off the defense, can take a 5 to 6 yard gain and turn it to a 50 to 60 yard touchdown like how he did against the Washington Commanders. And you have a guy like Keenan Allen who could kill you underneath and could kill you with the middle of the field. Then you drafted Rome Odunze with the 9th pick. The thing is this with Rome Odunze, gives you a little bit of everything. You could really compare him to DJ Moore. The routes are crisp, great hands, can get on top of cornerbacks, just overall a very good wide receiver. And you could have made the case that he would be the best wide receiver in this draft class if it was not for Marvin Harrison Jr. So I love what the Chicago Bears did in the first round. You go out there, you get your potential franchise quarterback in Caleb Williams, and then you swing back, you get Rome Odunze. And that was the rumor over the last couple of months, especially when they traded Justin Fields. We already knew that they were going to go out there and get Caleb Williams. But it was a low chance of them possibly getting Rome Odunze because it depended on what the Chargers are going to do and what the Giants are going to do. So they got both of their guys in the first round. The pressure on the Chicago Bears is to go out there and win right now. But like I mentioned earlier in the video, I want to temper expectations. Caleb Williams is still a rookie quarterback. Some rookie quarterbacks struggle. Some guys come out the gate just swinging. I believe that he's going to come out the gate just swinging because of the talent around him. Not too many young quarterbacks go into this situation, especially when the team has the first overall pick. Technically, the Chicago Bears are not the worst team in the NFL. It was the Carolina Panthers. This was a Panthers pick. So they went out there and they said, you know what we're going to do? Caleb Williams is going to be on a rookie contract anyway. Let's go out there and load up this roster and let's get this thing going. Because last season, if 3 of those games did not get away from the Chicago Bears, they could have been in playoff contention. And that's crazy to think about, with Justin Fields missing time and at the same time with the struggles that he had on the field. My only concern with Caleb Williams is, can he consistently play in structure? And I know a lot of people may roll their eyes and say, what are you talking about here? It was too many times in college where he would not just throw the ball to the open man when it was for a check down. He'll try to get too cute, point the wide receiver down the field like an Aaron Rodgers. Sometimes it ended up being a big play. Sometimes it did not end up being a big play. I will say this about Caleb Williams as well. He did not throw that many interceptions in college. Only 5 interceptions this season, only 5 interceptions last season. But at the end of the day, I do believe that they did hit on their franchise quarterback, and he has potential to be the best quarterback in the NFL over the next decade plus. I know that you have Jared Goff and Jordan Love in this division, and the Minnesota Vikings are a tough team as well. But like I mentioned before, this Chicago Bears team was not getting pushed around last season like how they were 5 to 6 years ago. And I also want to talk about this defense, because the defense looks very good on paper and they performed up to standard last season. They did not have a second round pick this year because they traded that second round pick to go get Montez Sweat, and you extended him as well. He's the first player ever in NFL history to lead not 1 but 2 teams in sacks in the same season, the Washington Commanders and the Chicago Bears. The Bears defense was solid, but when they went out there and traded for Montez Sweat, it looked completely different. They played better against the run, and he was getting to the quarterback. And that was a big concern with the Chicago Bears ever since they traded Khalil Mack. They did not have a franchise pass rusher. You now have that with Montez Sweat. And you also have Andrew Billings and Gervin Dexter Sr., who are very good interior defensive linemen, especially Andrew Billings. The pass rush started to get there on the back half of the season. And I love his game, especially playing alongside Montez Sweat. They also drafted Austin Booker with their last pick in the NFL draft in the 5th round. He's a defensive end from Kansas. I expect for him to give you good production out the gate. Montez Sweat's going to face a lot of double teams, a lot of chip blocks. So Austin Booker may have the opportunity to go out there and face a lot of one-on-one coverage. And the same with DeMarcus Walker as well. He has to step his game up. DeMarcus Walker only had 3.5 sacks on the season and 17 solo tackles. I understand that the last 3 to 4 games, the pressure did go up, but it has to be consistent. It's more than just 3 to 4 games in the season. But overall, the defense does look very good, and it performed up to standard last season as well. They had a top rushing defense for a reason, and TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds are very good interior linebackers with the Chicago Bears. You look at Tremaine Edmonds' numbers, they're crazy. 4 interceptions for a linebacker is ridiculous. 1 forced fumble, 69 solo tackles, and they got them in last year's free agency period. And the same thing with TJ Edwards. Want to give him some love. 91 solo tackles, tackle machine. That was 8th in the NFL. 2.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 3 interceptions. I always go back to that game against the Detroit Lions. When they beat them in the back half of the season, they stopped the run and they put a lot of pressure on Jared Goff. They didn't look the same. If their offense would be more consistent, they would have been in a better situation. You can say that for a lot of teams in the NFL, but you could truly say that about the Chicago Bears. And their secondary was very good as well. Jalen Johnson was a top cornerback. 31 solo tackles, 1 forced fumble, but 4 interceptions and 10 pass deflections. Him and Tremaine Edmonds both had the same number of interceptions. That's why I say it's crazy for a linebacker to have 4 interceptions in the season. Then you also have Tyreek Stevenson, who came in and looked like a true number 2 cornerback. They stopped throwing the way of Jalen Johnson, and the next thing you knew, he's coming in, he's showing out. 2 forced fumbles, 4 interceptions, 16 pass deflections, which is crazy. So Tyreek Stevenson is on a young rookie contract. You just re-signed Jalen Johnson to a long-term deal. The same with Montez Sweat. TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds, they're not going anywhere anytime soon because you just signed them in last year's free agency period. Then you also went out there and you signed Kevin Byard. Now, Kevin Byard, solid safety, did not have the best year with the Philadelphia Eagles. Granted, he did not have OTAs with the Philadelphia Eagles. He did not have training camp with the Philadelphia Eagles because they traded him to the Eagles at the trade deadline. Before that, he was a star safety with the Tennessee Titans. Do I believe that he will still be a star with the Chicago Bears? No, but I think that he'll be a very good veteran to have with the roster, especially in that secondary. He's been a pick machine in the past, and I still think that he's going to add a lot of value to that secondary. I just do not believe that he'll be a top 5 safety anymore because he is getting older. But I could be wrong, and I would love to be wrong. I would love to see him go into a different trajectory with his career. But he should play better with the Bears than he did with the Philadelphia Eagles. Granted, because he's going to have those training camp hours, and also this as well, the talent around him. He's never played with this type of talent on the defensive end. No disrespect to the Tennessee Titans, but their secondary was always struggling when he was there. He had to be their best player in the secondary. He just had to be the best player in the secondary. You have Jalen Johnson, and you also have Tyreek Stevenson, and they can get pressure up front with those guys that they have. Now, I want to talk about Matt Eberflus here. I'm not the biggest Matt Eberflus fan. Not me saying that he will never be a top head coach in the NFL or they should fire him if they don't make the playoffs this season, because there's a lot of variables that play into this. He's a former linebackers coach for the Indianapolis Colts. Phenomenal defensive game planner. I believe that he could be an elite defensive coordinator. His defensive game plans are great. It's just on the offensive end when he gets involved, going for it too much. Going for it on 4th and 10 when you don't need to. Not punting the football. Look at what happened against the Denver Broncos. You can't blow that lead. You have to bring that game home. You could get away with that then. Now with the expectation with more people watching the Chicago Bears, putting that microscope on them, and they're going to be watching Caleb Williams to see what he does. You have to go out there, coach the right way, and don't be that manager. Don't be that defensive manager. Put the ball in Caleb Williams' hands when you need to. And also punt the ball and believe in your defense when you need to. I believe that it's a learning curve with him because he is a younger head coach in the NFL. Hopefully he can turn things around. But on the back half of the season, to his credit, he did coach better, especially when Justin Fields went down. They punted the football, they played better defense, and they played through their defense, and they played through the run game. Even when Justin Fields came back, he wasn't as aggressive on the offensive end. Some people say, hey, go out there and go for it on 4th and 5 and 4th and 6. Don't do that. You're a defensive head coach. If the momentum is not there, punt the football and let your defense go out there and eat. If they would have did that against the Denver Broncos, they would have won that game. Now, I understand I'm just nitpicking here, but you have to remember, this is a guy that's entering another year with the Chicago Bears. And so far, the tenure hasn't been great. The franchise quarterback has always been in question when Justin Fields was there. But you're not going to get another golden opportunity like this again to be able to go out there and have a top 5 to top 3 pick and select the guy that you want. I don't think that Chicago Bears be picking within the top 5 and the top 10 for the next couple of years, especially if Caleb Williams is as good as he is advertised coming out of USC. So this is going to be a very dangerous team in this division, and I expect them to get things going immediately. They have set Caleb Williams up for immediate success, and I've said it over the last couple of months. With the draft, with the moves they made in free agency, it's crazy to see how the Chicago Bears have transformed over the last couple of years. And give Ryan Poles his credit. He stuck to his guns. I also want to talk about the 3rd round pick that they got as well. Kyron, the offensive tackle from Yale. He can play guard or tackle if you need him to. The thing is with him, he only allowed 3 quarterback hurries on 235 snaps this season. His season got cut short due to a quad injury. If he can stay healthy, he could be a very good, solid option with the offensive line moving forward, especially playing alongside a guy like Darnell Wright, who you selected in last year's draft class in the 1st round. And you have Tevin Jenkins at the guard position holding things down. And they got Nate Davis in last year's free agency class as well. I'm telling you, they've been building the right way on paper. But they had to get everything to gel together. Shane Waldron, this is his 1st year with the Chicago Bears. It'll be a brand new playbook for everyone. He's going to be an upgrade over Luke Getsy, who just wanted to call screens for the entirety of the season, it seems like. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you guys feel about the Chicago Bears? And are they a true threat in that division with the Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one, guys, stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless. Peace.